In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the front parking brake cable on this Dodge Ram 2500. This is the one that goes from your parking brake pedal all the way to the intermediate cable underneath the truck. Let's get started. I prefer to start underneath because it's going to be easier to disconnect it here and then go up top in the cab and disconnect it there. So to do this, we need some slack in this cable, and typically there is no slack, there shouldn't be any. So to get slack, I'm actually going to come back here, pull down on this. This will basically simulate activating or engaging the parking brake. I have some locking pliers, and I'm going to clamp down right on this cable here. Nice and tight. If you're worried about damaging the sheathing, put a rag around it or something, but tighten these so that they clamp down. That way the cable doesn't go back in, and now we have plenty of slack to work with here. You can try and separate this now, or you could just cut the cable and then deal with this separately, which is what I'm going to do. If you don't have cutters that are able to cut this, just use a cutoff wheel or whatever you have. There we go. I'm going to clamp this right on the frame here with a pair of locking pliers. That way I can work at removing this, and this will stay secured. On the back side, there's a little tab that I'm going to try and bend just a little bit. This should release that the end of the cable that's in there. Don't break it because you'll have to bend it back in at the end, but there we go. Now take a punch or whatever else you have that'll fit in here and tap this through. It has to get towards the middle here where it can pop out. There we go. So let's unclamp this. Now we'll be able to get this out of here. All right, this is now reusable. If yours is completely rotted, replace it. Now, to get the cable out of this bracket, you can either use a screwdriver, and there's a couple different tabs here that you can pry in or just break them off, or you could use a tool that is meant for this and slide it right over. This, what it does is it actually pinches those tabs, and with that done, you should be able to wiggle this and pop it out. There we go. All right. So I can be mostly done down here and not have to come back for much. I'm going to install the new cable now, slide it through this bracket, make sure you clip it in. And then when you do this, you want to make sure you have the correct end, because one end will have a larger piece attached to it. The other one has a smaller one. The smaller diameter one goes on this end, so it can slide in here. Otherwise, it will not be able to slide in here. If you pull on the other end of the cable, you should be able to get the end bottomed out to right about here where the old one was. Just like so. And then if you remember that little tab on the back side, that actually has to get crimped in a little bit, which is what locks that cable end. All right, there we go. So this is now locked in. We can move up into the vehicle. Now remember, we still have locking pliers creating slack here. I will be leaving those because on the other side, inside the vehicle, I will need some slack as well. Now from the inside of the vehicle, we're going to have to access the rest of the cable from in here, and to do that, we're going to have to remove this sill trim piece here so that we can peel the carpet up a little bit. Take a trim tool and just pry up on this. There we go. And now pull backwards. Set it aside. Now grab your carpet, peel it up and away. You don't need to go very far with it. I'm just going to set this hammer on top of it so it can stay. But this right here is our parking brake cable that we're after. If you pull it up, it should come right through the floor. There it is. Now this seal here, we are going to have to remove. Follow the cable and you'll see where it goes through the parking brake assembly here, this pedal assembly. Up there is where the cable actually mounts. Now follow the cable, and since it's disconnected from the other end, we should be able to just unhook it from here. There we go. And now to unhook it from the pedal assembly, you're either going to need a screwdriver, pry bar, or once again this special tool to push in those little tabs and get that cable right out. And there it is. With this cable off, unless you have a new gasket that goes on the floor here, we're going to have to reuse this one, which is totally reusable. And because I have the other end of this cable here cut, I can pull this through. Now, pulling this through is necessary because unless you want to struggle to slide this over, spinning this end allows you to remove it. And then this slides right over, but obviously not if the cable's still here. So, pull the cable through. Once you've done that, remove this piece, and we can put this on the new cable. Make sure that when you slide this piece on, it's facing in the right direction, because if you have it backwards, it's not going to actually seal up on the floor. And because I have my other end connected, the way I have to put this in is this way. So slide it over the cable. The new cable is going to be a little bit of a tight fit on this, but not as bad as the old one. So to help, I'm going to use some silicone paste and put it all over the end here and on the inside of the rubber seal here. And now I should be able to just push this through. I'm going to stick a prying tool here, a little screwdriver, all the way through until it pokes through the other side very gently, and then use it to pry this over that lip. There you go. Slide that on. Next thing you want to do is stick the cable through the floor. Pull that rubber gasket through, and we'll try to seat it at this point so that this part is done and it's sealed up. Once you have it in position, just press it until it kind of snaps into the floor. Double check it all the way around. It's important that this is seated so that you don't get any water inside your vehicle. There we go. Now let's stick the cable through this parking brake bracket, and we're going to have to clip it in. There we go. That's clipped in. Now remember, we still have slack on the other side of the cable, which will allow us to hook this side in with hopefully minimal struggles. Now you should have just enough space. Now grab some needle nose pliers and pull the cable. Hopefully you have just enough slack to hook it on here. Hold it so it doesn't fall down. We're going to have to squeeze it in through that opening. There we go. Oh, all right, so that's in. That's hooked in at this point. Now put your carpet back. Make sure that any wires that are there don't get pulled on or pinched when you do this. Make sure you tuck it underneath everywhere where it needs to go. This is a dangerous area to have the carpet be in the way because obviously the pedals need to stay clear. Any wires like this that may have come down, make sure you tuck them back up. And reinstall your trim piece. It's going to have to slide in over here first. Tuck it up underneath the dash, press it into place, and then just press it down. At this point, you can release your pair of locking pliers. The parking brake cable should go back into its fully extended mode where it's released. Actually, both rear wheels should be released at this point. And there you have it. Job is done. You should have an adjustment here. This truck is extremely rotted, so I can't even adjust this, but this should be an adjustment for your parking brake that you can adjust if needed with a wrench or a deep socket here so you can get the proper tension on both these cables. There you have it. Job is done.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.